Archangel Michael says, "It happened in silence, yet it echoed through the heavens." The moment you turned around, chose your peace, and walked away, a ripple was unleashed in the spiritual world. They thought you would never have the strength to leave, but they were wrong, and now, they're crying behind closed doors. They underestimated the power of your voice when you finally said, "No." They smiled when they betrayed you, laughed when you wept in silence, but now, the tears have shifted. The ones who thought they had control over your spirit are now watching you rise without them. Something changed in that exact moment. The realm of divine intervention became activated. You had no idea what you just triggered when you stepped away from their lies. That walk wasn't just a walk away from them, it was a walk toward destiny. The angels stopped and marked that moment in golden ink. The book of your life has been rewritten starting from the chapter you walked alone. And now, heaven's fire surrounds your next steps, protecting you from what once poisoned your joy. Type Amen to get blessing 333. Archangel Michael says, "The door you slammed shut was not a loss, it was a doorway to rebirth." You are no longer the person they once played with like a puppet. They no longer recognize your aura, because it no longer carries their chains. Now they sit under the weight of their own choices. You gave them so many chances, but they gambled with your heart like it meant nothing. But today, it is their turn to watch you go without begging for them to follow. They wanted control, not love. They wanted silence, not truth. And when you stood up, they felt something they weren't ready for, powerless guilt. Your silence now screams louder than all their manipulations ever could. You are no longer emotionally enslaved to their fake apologies. You are no longer the character in their story, you are the author of your own. Type Amen to get blessing 888. They're not just crying because you left. They're crying because they finally know what they've lost. And what they've lost is irreplaceable, you. Don't be surprised if they try to reappear with words they once withheld. Don't be shocked if they suddenly miss you when your light becomes too bright to ignore. Because the truth is, they never believed you would survive without them. But here you are, breathing peace, clothed in favor, and watched by the eyes of heaven. They didn't just lose a person. They lost their access to a miracle. Every tear they shed now is a confession they won't say aloud. They cry not for you, but for the grip they no longer have over your mind. You've shifted realms, and not everyone was meant to follow you. Type Amen to get blessing 229. You might have walked away with wounds, but now those wounds are becoming wings. Everything you endured is about to transform into unstoppable favor. God is taking the pain they caused and converting it into power they can never steal again. Your walk was never about pride, it was about survival. You were choking under their silence, drowning under their control. But now, you're inhaling freedom with every step. They wanted you confused. They needed you unsure. But the moment you gained clarity, you became untouchable. They had no idea you were the fire. They thought they could smother you, but they only added fuel. And now, the heat of your becoming is too much for them to handle. Type Amen to get blessing 444. They pretend they're fine, but at night, the truth shatters them. Your no wasn't just a refusal, it was divine release. You didn't lose them, they lost what heaven hand-delivered. God removed you from the table where you were no longer honored. You sat for too long with people who only passed you crumbs. But now, you're walking into rooms where your presence will be celebrated, not tolerated. Let them cry in confusion while you ascend in clarity. Let them weep in darkness while your life glows in alignment. What was meant to break you has now broken them instead. Every tear they cry is an echo of the harm they sent your way. But justice has returned to sender. And you, child of heaven, are moving forward unshaken. Type Amen to get blessing 121. They once counted your silence as weakness. But silence is where God whispered strategies to your soul. You didn't walk away empty, you walked away with heaven's blueprint. The love they threw away is now haunting them. The loyalty they toyed with is now chasing them in their dreams. Because nothing hurts more than realizing the treasure was real, and they discarded it. They'll scroll through your life like it's a movie they're no longer cast in. They'll watch from a distance, pretending not to care. But heaven knows the weight of their hidden regret. You're not bitter, you're blessed. You're not broken, you're reborn. And this time, no one will have access to your heart without divine clearance. Type Amen to get blessing 717. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Archangel Michael says, "You were not weak when you cried in silence." Heaven was gathering those tears and turning them into rivers of favor. Now, those rivers are beginning to flow, and they will not stop. They'll see your rise and wonder how you got there. They'll try to trace your steps but won't find a path. Because God made a way only for you, sealed, hidden, and protected. Their tears are real now, but they don't erase what they did. They can regret, but they can't rewrite what's already unfolded. Because the one who chooses manipulation over love always ends up alone. Let them cry for what they took for granted. Let them beg the wind to carry their sorrow to your ears. But you, beloved, keep walking forward. Type Amen to get blessing 999. Every tear you cried alone has now become oil on your path. You'll glide into places others were blocked from. You'll glow in the dark where others only stumble. They are not crying for forgiveness. They are crying because they lost access to the best version of themselves, you. And nothing they do now can restore what they chose to destroy. You are no longer the one who begs to be loved. You are the one who walks away with dignity, cloaked in divine fire. You are not returning to their storm, because peace has finally found you. God is sending replacements they won't believe. They'll watch as someone else cherishes what they rejected. They'll taste the bitterness of their own delay. Type Amen to get blessing 531. Heaven is opening doors because you walked away from manipulation. You could have stayed out of fear. But you chose courage, and that courage is being rewarded now. You didn't just say no to them, you said yes to God. You didn't just walk away, you walked into purpose. And that decision was the turning point of everything. They're crying because they've realized too late. Realized that love wasn't a game. And that losing you wasn't temporary, it was permanent. Your light is about to be seen by those who deserve it. Your voice is about to be heard by those who will honor it. Your presence is about to be received by those who prayed for someone just like you. Type Amen to get blessing 666. Archangel Michael says, you were never meant to stay in a place where love was weaponized. You were born to rise, not rot in the shadow of someone else's control. And your rise has begun. They wanted you to question your worth. But now they question their own sanity for letting you go. Their laughter has turned to tears, and their silence has turned to sorrow. You don't need closure from someone who never gave you clarity. You are your own closure now. And heaven has the final word over your story. They'll keep watching, hoping for a crack in your peace. But all they'll see is someone chosen, protected, and fiercely loved by heaven. And they'll know they can never go back to what they broke. Type Amen to get blessing 303. God has given you a robe of dignity no one can stain again. Your journey will speak louder than any apology they'll never say. You didn't lose anything, you got set free. So let them cry. Let them scream into their pillow. Let them replay every memory of you that now feels like a lifetime ago. Because while they break under their guilt, you're building under God's grace. While they wish for a return, you're preparing for a restoration. And heaven is clapping for the decision that changed everything. Type Amen to get blessing 212. They still can't understand how your energy has shifted so fast. But that's what divine detachment does. It cuts cords in the spirit before the body even moves. You left them spiritually long before your final goodbye. They were feasting on your loyalty, never realizing it had an expiration date. They thought you'd never find the exit. But the moment your soul said, "Enough," heaven opened the escape route. You're no longer waiting for their change. You've already transformed in silence while they laughed in pride. Now, that pride is crumbling under the weight of your absence. They wore a mask for so long, they forgot what truth felt like. But your decision exposed them. It left their shadows without shelter. Type Amen to get blessing 555. Every time you hesitated to walk away, it delayed your blessings. Now that you've cut the tie, watch how fast heaven moves. Acceleration will be your portion from now on. They thought they had time. They assumed you'd always be there to fix, to forgive, to follow. But time has expired, and grace has shifted directions. You're not vengeful, you're healed. You're not cold, you're protected. You didn't block them to punish, you did it to protect your promise. What they're crying over isn't just your presence, it's your favor. They touched something holy and didn't value it. Now the consequence is echoing in their loneliness. Type Amen to get blessing 111. You gave them access to your soul, and they abused it. Now God is giving you access to new dimensions they will never enter. They'll hear your name in rooms they were never invited to. Regret is a slow, painful lesson. And tonight, they are learning it through sleepless thoughts of you. They are staring at the door you shut, wishing they had treated you right. But that chapter is sealed. That season is buried. Your soul has ascended into realms they can't reach anymore. They'll try to reach you again, but they won't find the same version of you. You've evolved. And evolution doesn't reverse for old illusions. Type Amen to get blessing 818. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Archangel Michael says, "The one who betrayed your loyalty now fears your distance." What they once controlled is now guarded by divine flames. And every attempt to come back will meet a holy blockade. Let their tears fall. Let them cry for what they can't fix. Because the moment you said no, you said yes to heaven's overflow. You were never meant to be someone's option. You were heaven's chosen, and now you're being treated as such. Every tear they cry is your vindication rising. Watch how God begins restoring everything they tried to delay. The friendships you lost, the peace they robbed, the time you wasted, it's all returning multiplied. And it will return in front of their very eyes. Type Amen to get blessing 929. They tried to gaslight your pain. Now they're suffocating in the smoke of their own denial. Because when God lifts his hand off a connection, nothing can hold it together. You didn't leave with a heavy heart, you left with a healed one. And now, your presence is surrounded by discernment. No more fake apologies. No more hidden intentions. The truth they hid is now haunting them. Every lie is replaying in their mind like a scene they wish they could rewrite. But the tape can't be edited now. You were the light. And now that light has moved. They're left stumbling in the shadows they created. Type Amen to get blessing 411. They thought you were just another chapter. But they were the footnote in your story. The real plot begins now, and heaven is writing it with fire. They'll call it karma. But it's not revenge, it's divine reversal. What was meant for your ruin is now raining favor. Let them cry. Let them sit in the silence they once gave you. This is your season to smile without apology. You're not just walking, you're marching. You're not just free, you're appointed. And heaven is clearing the path ahead. Type Amen to get blessing 232. You've passed the test. And now, reward is chasing you with urgency. What was blocked by toxic ties has been released by sacred disconnection. They are no longer your concern. Their tears are not your responsibility. They had their chance, and they wasted it. God saw it all. The private breakdowns. The manipulation behind the laughter. Now justice is dressed in your peace. And favor is clothed in your next chapter. Nothing from your past can survive in your future. Type Amen to get blessing 3333. Let them scroll through your photos in regret. Let them hear your name and feel the sting. Because now, you've become a prophecy fulfilled. The pain they caused did not destroy you, it revealed you. The storm they created only exposed your foundation. And it turns out, your foundation was built on divine strength. You're unrecognizable now, in the best way. No longer a victim. No longer controlled. Now you're a vessel of glory. Archangel Michael says, they'll want another chance. But heaven says the door is locked. What was once their blessing has now become their lesson. Type Amen to get blessing 712. Do not reopen what God has closed. Do not reconsider what peace has replaced. You're too far along to look back now. You are being celebrated in places where your name was once mocked. You are being honored in rooms they never thought you'd enter. And your glow now blinds the very people who dimmed your light. Let their tears water the seeds of your success. Let their silence be the soil for your story. Because the more they cry, the more you rise. They are not your responsibility anymore. They are not your destiny. You've outgrown the chaos. Type Amen to get blessing 606. So smile, not because of their pain, but because of your growth. Rejoice, not in revenge, but in release. And breathe, not in fear, but in freedom. This chapter is drenched in oil. This season is soaked in joy. And this moment is forever marked by heaven. Walk tall. Walk free. Walk chosen. They'll continue crying. You'll continue climbing. Because you said no, and heaven said now. Type Amen to get blessing 321. They keep checking their phone, hoping you'll reach out. But the silence you've given them is now their greatest punishment. Your absence has become louder than any words you ever spoke. They are haunted by memories they can't run from. Every word you ever said is echoing in their mind now like thunder. Because what once felt like control now feels like an unbearable void. Your energy no longer surrounds them. Your laughter no longer lights up their space. And now, regret sits where your love once lived. Archangel Michael says, there are moments heaven waits for, this was one of them. Your decision to walk away broke spiritual cycles that ran through generations. You said no, and an entire bloodline shifted. Type Amen to get blessing 1001. This isn't just about a person. This is about power being restored to your soul. The enemy lost control when you stopped begging to be seen. They may say you changed, but that's exactly the point. You transformed from someone they used into someone they now fear. Because the light inside you became stronger than their darkness. They never thought you'd rise without their validation. But heaven doesn't need their approval to lift you. You are now operating under divine elevation. Now they cry, not for you, but for what you represent. You are proof that God delivers. Proof that walking away isn't weakness, but wisdom. Type Amen to get blessing 202. They still whisper your name, hoping someone will mention you. They want to know if you still care, still wonder, still look back. But you've moved on in spirit, in power, and in purpose. The day you said no was the day you returned to yourself. You remembered your worth. You reclaimed your voice. That choice sent shockwaves through the spirit world. Demons trembled, because they lost a foothold. And angels rejoiced, because they gained your obedience. They'll cry in circles while you move in straight lines. They'll spiral in confusion while you rise in confidence. Because favor follows those who choose peace over patterns. Type Amen to get blessing 1444. You will not have to explain why you left. Your glow will tell the story. Your peace will testify louder than any words. Let them write their version of the past. It will not change your future. Because God has already sealed your outcome. No weapon they formed can stand against your rebirth. No manipulation they planned can reach your new level. You are now operating under divine instruction, and heaven does not stutter. Let them feel your absence. Let them learn the cost of losing someone who was pure. Let them live with the echo of your final no. Type Amen to get blessing 6060. You were the answer to prayers they didn't even know they needed. But they dismissed you like a distraction. Now they cry for what they can't ever regain. God is releasing replacements in every area you were robbed. What you lost in emotion, you will gain in elevation. What they damaged in you will become diamonds under pressure. They gave you pain, God gave you purpose. They gave you lies. God gave you liberty. They gave you confusion, God gave you clarity. Every tear they cry now is a mirror of their guilt. They finally see you through the eyes of truth, but it's too late. Your destiny is too far ahead for them to catch up now. Type Amen to get blessing 787. They see your smile and wonder how you're unbothered. They don't know that peace isn't something you found, it's something you became. You are now the version of yourself that cannot be manipulated again. You no longer react, you respond with distance. You no longer break, you build in silence. You no longer explain, you evolve. Let them sit in the ruins of the games they played. Let them cry for the masterpiece they shattered. Because you've risen from the ashes they left you in. You don't owe them a return. You don't owe them closure. You owe yourself a future that honors your healing. Type Amen to get blessing 455. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Archangel Michael says, you were chosen to break free. Your no didn't just stop the cycle for you, it stopped it for generations to come. The strength in your decision has become the shield over your bloodline. They will tell stories about you one day. Not for how you suffered, but for how you survived. Not for who hurt you, but for how you healed. You are the proof that walking away is an act of spiritual warfare. You are the evidence that silence is sometimes the loudest roar. You are the echo of heaven's decree, free, favored, and fierce. Now watch as everything you prayed for comes, not delayed, not denied, but delivered at the appointed time. And this time, you'll be ready. Type Amen to get blessing 313. They may still cry, but your tears have dried. They may still ache, but your soul has ascended. You've become the version of yourself that no longer begs, pleads, or settles. You are royalty who finally remembered your crown. You are fire that refused to be extinguished by false love. You are wisdom clothed in peace, walking away in divine armor. Don't look back. Don't return to places that cost you your voice. Because forward is where your name is being whispered in the halls of blessing. Let the angels finish what you started with one word, no. And let the next chapter open with power that cannot be contained. You are the storm now. You are the shift. Type Amen to get blessing 9999.